Hey guys, how's it going? I wasn't enough of a glutton the first time around. I'm buying a bucket truck that ended up being a total pile. I went to go bring it over to the shop the latest time to go do a bunch of work on it, and it decided not even to want to run anymore. So I went on the old internets and found the cheapest bucket truck I could find again, and that is it right there. I'm waiting for the owner to come and see if we can go load her up on my trailer and see how well that does. She's a peach. You'll see. So the first time I went to go look at it, it had 6 inches down each side of it, so you couldn't really see much of it. But the price is right, I guess. It's a 95, I think. Rockers are rotted out. You can see chain hanging out underneath it. Let's see what the frame looks like. I'm only using it for private use on a property. Probably won't even register it, but I just need it so that it functions as far as being a bucket truck. It's got decent tires on it. Seems to have the door folded back, kind of the same as the other one did. They go through a rough life. When was the last time it was on the road? 2012. They fired it up, it seemed like it ran okay. Actually, we got 2 stickers on it. 2014. It's only 8 years been off the road. Yeah, rocker's blowing out on this side too. So we'll get her loaded up on the trailer and get her over to the shop, and then we'll start having at her. I'm trying to get stuff to work that doesn't work and get a general assessment if this thing's going to go kill us or not.
Keep coming.
More time weight?
Got more time weight. Yes, please.
It's got a secret entry. It's our anti-theft device. Give you a 50-50 whether the solenoid's going to be any good. There she goes. The shifter, on the other hand, here's the radio. Shifter moves like mud. There it goes. There's reverse. Oh, and the steering. There isn't any. My guess is that the power steering's just not working. But it could be stuff that's seized up from just sitting. I like the shifter. Oh, hold it. There we go. Not making a lot of noise. The big thing is, it's going to fit on the lift. She's a tad wide, tad tall. I think tall we're good. Wide might be another. Write your own jokes. I don't think we're squared up to it. Let's go see. We have no rear brakes. We've got kind of brakes. Cleared on that side. Now we're clear on that side. It runs down about 5. Come on, get up there. There's a stop lock on the lift. Let's go. See how we look. I do believe this is just brake fluid, hopefully. We got a tire on, the front tire's on. I think the nose can get kicked over. Yeah, a little bit. That might be an issue. I can go square up a little bit and we'll start getting a walk around, see what we got to work with. Stinking Ford solenoids. Alright, so I'm a glutton for punishment. What can I say? I bought another clapped out bucket truck. I have one already that I tried to save, and long story. I'll probably put a link to those videos if you care to go see the saga of that bucket truck. Anyway, I went to go bring that one over here to try to do some repairs on it, and both fuel pumps went in the fuel tanks, along with a long list of other things that that bucket truck needed. That I decided to bail on it, and for half the price I paid for that one, which was not much, I bought this one. Actually, this one was $1,200. So for $1,200, what can you expect? It is a 2000. I thought it was a 95. He thought it was a 95. Unfortunately, it did not come with a title. The state of New Hampshire, you do not need a title for anything under 2000. So that kind of leaves me a little bit of a pickle to try to register it, but I don't need it registered. I just needed to go to a property and do a bunch of work. I'm not going into the tree business. I'm not going into running power lines or anything, but I have a bunch of tree limbs to trim. I have a sunroom to rebuild, and you have to go from the top and like hover over 4x6 sheets of glass, and you cannot rest on top of them while you're trying to repair them and remove them. So the best bet was to try to get a bucket truck that can do the job for cheap money. We'll see how that works out for us. All right, so far things I'm already aware of that do not work. It does not have rear brakes. It's got a line blown out from there. It has got the belt cut off of it to run all the pulleys. The AC compressor is locked up, so the water pump's not spinning. It has 2 belts on it. There is another one spinning that is hooked to the power steering. Power steering does not work, and I know the controls do not work from the bucket, but it has a remote on a tether that does work the bucket. Function checked all that before we kind of went along. That's a typical New England vehicle. It's rotted to death. It's got 164,000 miles on it, which is a lot for a bucket truck. You figure, you know, most of their work is kind of sitting still, doing a job.
Plus, you got to remember that thing's been running every time it was sitting somewhere doing its work out of the bucket. So it may have 164,000 miles on it, but it's probably got another 200,000 just idle time sitting there running, keeping the charging system going up. All right, enough babble. Let's get a walk around, get a little bit better idea of what we got. Again, when I first looked at it, there was about 6 inches on each side of it. I couldn't even look down the side of it. But again, for the cheap money, if it ran and stuff moved, I was good with it. Scrap, it's probably got $400 in scrap metal. I think it goes up 26 feet is the height on it. He's got another back door for it. The roof is a little crushed in. That seems to be par for the course whenever you put the boom down next to it. Bucket seems like it's decent. I only see big cracks in it, but I do see a bunch of wiring laying inside there. I don't know if that's somebody taking wiring out of something or if that is wiring out of the control panel on this. We'll go find out. Get into that later. Huge rear bumper setup. It's an E350. I'm not sure what engine it is. I think it's a 5.8. Rockers are blowing out on both sides of it. But again, essentially, I'm just looking for a movable platform to work off of. And you can rent one for about 5 days for the 1,200 bucks I paid for it, or you could just buy one and I could leave it on the property and use it as needed. And the other bucket truck is the same setup almost. So if I need anything for the bucket assembly, that man is an 80, 85, 86. So it's a tad different, but I think some of those pieces, if we need any, we can use them. All right, let's go open the doors and look inside. Oh yeah, and the driver's door is not open from the outside. Typical work truck. I wouldn't find anything fancy inside it. And there's the main heart. I don't even want to call that trunk of it. Let's see if we can get the slider open. It might be a two-hand job. You guys are seeing this pretty much for the first time. I am too. It was full of rims when he first had it. Oh look. It's even set up for camping. A little shelving unit back there. I didn't expect that. Yeah, it's dark. Let me go grab a light. It's like the best RV to go to sporting events. You just kind of camp out in here, and then when the show goes on, you just lift the whole thing up in the air for a lesser light. Got a paper towel rolls, little spray bottles, a bunch of aluminum on the back window. I wonder if they kind of sat something on there. What's that setup, huh? Just spring on it on the door. A couple pieces of firewood. It's probably for chalking the wheels. I think the battery sat here. Has to have an external battery for this. That would be my guess for this. See any terminals anywhere? What are these? That's the cord. I wouldn't think it would run off the house battery. Oh, on the backside, there it is. And there's a battery tray with a battery back here. And what's that thing? An inverter. So it makes its own power. That's a nice little feature. I thought you would have just plugged into it. That's probably why they used it as a camper, huh? Spin you around. Inverter. Is that going from DC to AC or AC to DC? What do you think? It's got a plug going somewhere. I don't know what that would be for. That goes around. Oh, to the power strip over here. To power the inside. You must have it plugged into the inverter when it's running. And I would think this is the battery that runs the boom. Go through a battery checker on that and see if anything has any kind of life in there. Anything else you want to look at? What's this? Breaker box? A relay panel? some Mike and Ike's. I don't know if it had 2 batteries. One on the other side, maybe? Like, why is that piece of wood there? What would that stop from moving around? Go check out our kitchen. Pine cone collection. You can tell it's a New England vehicle when it says Wicked on it. Yeah, so somebody used this for a camper, huh? A rat's gonna come out and suck to my face. Let's throw a battery tester on it. See if it does anything. If not, we'll just throw a charger on it for a while and see if it does anything. Now it's got no voltage. Stone dead. Stone dead, or we don't have no connection. Yeah, nothing on that needle. All right, I'm gonna throw a battery charger on that. See if it has any chance of recovering. I don't know if it's got no dates are punched out on it, so I don't know how old it is. There's a puffy on the sides. What happens is the acid and the water kind of separate, and it loses its charge, and they'll puff out. It's that date right there. What's that? 2011. That battery is 11 years old. Yeah, I'm not giving it much of a chance. Let's see if we can crack open that back door. We need that. Yeah, that might be an issue. I tilted that bucket a little bit. See if we have enough room now. Rubbing is racing. Good evening. Yeah, she's a little crunchy. Yeah, we're not looking to restore our vehicle. Good thing, huh? Yeah. Essentially just a platform with a boom on it we're looking at. Yeah, what is this setup, huh? Maybe to run power out? Yeah. Maybe that's to run a power cord? I don't know. Especially with that. What would you do with that? Sell hot dogs? A little restaurant in the back? What was going on? We're not getting the other door open because I don't think that door opens. Unless you own both all that crap. All right. Let's go look up top. Comes with, I have no idea. Hopefully that's not out of it. We're gonna find out, I guess. Hopefully that's just somebody was doing a repair. And it looks like snow chains. And a quart of water. Water. Alright. What we got? So these do not work. I think one of the buttons was broken on it. I think this one just kind of falls apart. So we'll kind of go see. Looks like we can unbolt this to kind of get to the back of it. Let's see what happens. This is the lock and unlock for the bucket for the swivel that I'm on right now. Can't do it because I got a load on it. The load being me. That pulls out and the bucket can swivel. Seems like everyone's got a bashed in roof. The other one was 10 times worse than this one. I decided just to replace that battery. Let's go hook that up. Ooh, that's drawing something. Inverter power. Can we shut that off? Yeah. Huh. Wonder how much it puts out. You gotta be able to run a drill and stuff, right? I think so. That'll have power up by the bucket. The plug that's up there will have power. I thought you just would have plugged the van in to land power, but it's got its own. All right, let's go see if the boom does anything. So it's got a power switch. One of these should do it. I see lights flicking. Are they both? Turn them both on, see what we get. And there's a control box down here somewhere. Let's go walk away and see what we can do. Yeah, just firing the strobe. Let's see what the bucket does. I don't see if I hold anything down or... Engine start and stop from the box, that's pretty cool. Let's go boom raise. No. Emergency power. Controller. Lower. I want that E-stop up top has to be opened. So turn the key on inside. And that gives you emergency power. Sounds like it's running the hydraulics, but nothing's happening. I have a feeling it's trying to run off the battery that's in it instead of the one we put in the back. Let me go swap a battery out for there. It's probably trying to run off that jumper pack that's almost dead. It's just a battery. The van might have to be running too. Maybe that's the issue with it. But let's go see. Yeah. I don't know why the van starts beeping when I do that. Where's the engine start? Typical Ford. Cross that solenoid. Now let's see what she does. There we go. Yeah, it's already running. I kind of like to have it working with the van not running though. Might suck if you run out of gas. And light bulbs to change up there. What if it'll make it all the way down to the ground? It'd be nice if you can put it to the ground and step out of it. That's it, as slow as it goes right there. The shutoff works. Killed the van. Will it start from here? Oh, that relay's not working. I think it will. I think it'll start the van up from there. I just kind of wish that it would work. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we just got a relay that's bad. Well, it's one of the things that we got to go fix, right? Now let's go see how my lift likes it. We can take a peek underneath. That's all the loveliness. One problem. You know where the flashlight is? Yep, it's up there. Alright, let's go take a peek underneath. See how terrible it is. Well, that might be an issue. There is no frame there. The torsion bar is hanging down. How about the other side? Steering box is dripping like crazy. That might be why there's no power steering. Let's roll this out of our way. Oh, the brakes are on. Yeah, I bought another pile. The setup hangs off of the frame with like big plates and bolted through. Right there, that's the structure that comes down and grabs the frame. No spare. More flaky frame. Rear end doesn't look like it's leaking, or it's empty. A breather canister, charcoal canister. And I guess our broken brake line, or broken brake line, I would say is right about there. So maybe we can kind of grab it up at that junction right there. And we'll just lay out a line and tap in somewhere on the other side because we're not going to mess with that gas tank. Oh, wait, it gets better. I was wondering why it was kind of noisy. Because the exhaust system seemed like it was on it. Ready for it? Well, right about there should be a catalytic converter. And they swiped that out of there and just shoved a piece of pipe in it. Yeah, this thing was definitely destined for never going back on the road again. Oh well. Alright, so we got to get some wrenching done. We need to get, primarily, we should probably just cut that thing right out of our way. That's not going to do anything anymore. Let's get that out of there. And then we have to try to figure out what is happening. Is that the power steering pump right there? That one turns. Well, that might be why it has no power steering. Is that an air pump or the power steering pump? Not sure. Rusty, huh? There's the AC that's locked up. And we got to either use that with the belt. Actually, there's something above is missing too. Look at the bolts. Something was bolted there. I hope it's not an idler pulley that I need, that I don't have. What would go there? We got to get that pulley off too, that belt off to get an inner one on there. Let's go throw some pliers on that AC pump and we'll see if we can work that back and forth, see if we can get that to free up. It might have just gotten stuck from sitting so long, and if we get it to move a little bit, maybe it'll be okay. We can just put a regular sized belt on it. Let's see if we get the bolt out of there. We'll be able to get that sway bar out of our way. Let's go beat a socket on. I think the chances are that'll come out and just rip itself right out. I fully expected that to snap. Had enough to get her. I can't get onto the other side of it. In the face. Yeah. I think they pulled it with the chain and ripped her out. Alright, let's go grab. Let's get a little forceful with her. Just bend that bracket right out of our way if we can. Get her to slip out. Oh, so close. One of those, don't you? Really? Twisty curvy, come on. You're there. Almost. Gotcha. What, do you think I can leave the rest of the bracket on there? I think I am a hack. Like it was never there. Yeah, see if we can get any kind of movement out of the AC compressor. Oh yeah. I think it's just crud. Good. Yeah, this is just all rust kind of built up behind it. I won't get overly confident, but I think if we can get my hand. Yeah. Should probably take an air gun, maybe blow some air behind it, get the rust out of it. Gotta get it to make a full circle yet though. Actually, that's just the pump, isn't it? That's not, yeah, we need the pulley to turn. That's the inside. We don't need the inside. We need that to turn. How are you gonna get on that? Maybe like one of those vice grip chains, chain vice grips. I got it backwards. Yeah. I don't see that going anywhere. So does that mean, because that should freewheel in the AC compressor, it must have a large bearing on the back side of it that is supported further out, and then there's just a small shaft going through the middle of it that runs the AC compressor. So the AC works, the clutch on the outside of it is locked up. I'm gonna try maybe taking like an air hammer around and just kind of whacking on the side of it, give me like a couple of rat-a-tats and see if that'll break loose any rust or crud that's on it. I was hoping I can, if you get a little movement out of it. If not, can we just get a belt on it without having AC? You know what I mean? Just like I'm sure it comes with and without AC. I really don't care if the AC works or not. Actually, I'll leave that on there for now. I'm gonna try wrapping on that a little bit with an air hammer. See if that breaks up. If not, we'll go to like the Plan B, try to get a different belt on it. And I'm not giving this much hope, but let's give her a shot. I need to hammer where you are. Pardon me. Alright, so it shows with and without AC, but it looks like it has a tensioner that I do not have. So I'll be idler. So which one's the tensioner? One of them's got to be, right? That's not that one, idler. But this has two separate belts on. This one has an outer circuit, which is running this stuff, and then another circuit over here. So that tensioner is on a separate circuit. Doesn't make any sense to me. I'll show you what I mean. Get you in there. Alright. Straighten your neck out.
Okay, so there's a belt that's out further, running a bunch of crap over there. And what is that? That's a hydraulic pump. Ah, now it makes sense. So it has to be running. Now I get it. So it has to be running. That runs the hydraulic pump, which runs the lift. So it runs off the engine itself hydraulically. And then for battery backup, it has a separate circuit for battery backup to get it to come down. And that's a little hydraulic motor you're hearing. All right, so that all runs the hydraulics. So the engine has to be running for running the boom hydraulically. Hence why you can start and stop it from up above. And then is this all just one circuit? So where's the tensioner? It shows a tensioner on the right hand side. I see one there, but that is just the, right? That is just the one running that other belt. Do you see another one in further? It's gotta be something that lines up with this, right? So I see one pulley, 2 pulley, water pump is 3, crank is 4, 5 is the AC, and 6 is the idler. So we need 6 pulleys that we're looking at. So we have that one, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So something's got to be a tensioner also for this system. I wonder if there's one that's missing right here, whatever this is. So this says non-AC. There would be another pulley here for non-AC that we don't have. But something was bolted in that location too. Tensioner. That one's tensioner right there. So that was the tensioner. Okay. So can we make it, can we grab those 4? Can we, well, I'm trying to figure out if we can draw a line that can make it so that we can clear all those without the AC in there. If I just yank that AC right out of there and try to free up the pulley and just put like a bearing on the end of it if we have to. Bands suck to work on. There's no room. As you can look what we're looking through right now, you know. That's how much area you got to work in. Little cubby hole. Let's I'm gonna go pop, like somebody already was ahead of us. Let's go pop the air filter cartridge out of our way, give us a little bit more working room. Now looking at it again, so that's the idler we see. That's was not the tensioner. The tensioner is missing. The tensioner would be right here. That's the thing with the 3 screws that we suspected something was taken off. So that's what it is. We're missing a tensioner setup, and I don't know if that tensioner would flip over and kind of take where the AC is. If we can get a tensioner for non-AC, does everything else stay the same? It kind of looks like the path that it takes. Just go up and around and we'll have a tensioner there. I wonder if we can order a tensioner for a non-AC and see what we get. Well, I tried the air hammer a bunch, but no avail. Let's go give her a little bit more if I can. Persuasion on it. Get a pipe on what's left of it. Which way those pliers are stronger. And I went and looked at the bolts, how the bolts are, how the AC compressor is bolted up there. And let's just say it's not going to be easy to get that compressor out of there neither. So yeah, I bolted the front of that clutch off of there. It just has a smaller bolt, and then you put a larger one in later, and it just pushes it off of a shoulder. And you can see what we got going on up inside here. Let me get back there.
So it looks like this is where the bearing is, right in there. And that looks like a snap ring. I tried getting the bolts out for the AC to try to pull the whole thing out. Not happening. But that looks like where the bearing is, right there. And again, we have a snap ring. So I'm going to go try taking some compressed air and blowing it inside there. I don't know if we can get some fluid behind that. Or maybe we should just try taking that snap ring off. I wonder if we could probably get the pulley off. I don't know if we can get that pulley off of there. Either replace it or leave it off of there and not have to worry about the AC pump being in the way. Worst case, there's a washer. Let's get rid of that. Capture that. Worst case, we could always just, to get this out of the way, we just cut the shaft right off, flush and give us room for the idler pulley. But until I get that, that's probably, we'll hold off. I think for now, because I got this off, I could probably get in a little bit better. I'm going to continue to work on trying to get this to turn, but it's not looking very good by the amount of corrosion. This thing could have been underwater or something too. Kind of has a look to it. Or just New England salt weather. Alright, so our attempt now is to use that puller. There's not much clearance. I have to. I'll pull the radiator shroud out of there and the fan and everything. I'm going to try to get that to crack loose and see if I can get it to pull forward a little bit at least off of there. Not very hopeful with that little baby puller, but I'm going to give it a shot. Yeah, it wasn't happening. I tried. It's got a lot of tension on it right now, but she's not going to go. I think I'm going to wait until I get the pulley for up above, like I said, and see how much interference we have and where it needs to be and all that kind of stuff. And we'll probably just end up cutting that right out of there is my guess. The bolts to take the compressor out are those on the side there. They go through the body about 6 inches long, and they are aluminum against steel. They are totally corroded. I tried cracking them loose. It's not happening. So the compressor itself is not coming out without putting up a fight. And even if you cut the heads of those bolts off, that compressor would have to drop down 4 inches to get off the bolts. And you only have, you know, what you got, about 1.5 inches in between there. So that's not going to happen. And again, I'm not trying to dig a hole. Just trying to get this thing to have a belt on it to spin the power steering, the water pump, and the alternator. That's all I'm concerned about. So I think we'll leave that until I can get some parts. Maybe we can jump over to looking at that brake line and see if we can get something going on with that. All right, so our rotted out spot is right there, there. So I say we try getting what's left of that fitting. We'll cut the line right off and see if we can get that to spin out of that rear line, and we'll figure out where it goes on the other end. And we'll try to pop it back out on the other side. Maybe we'll just run a line from front to back and tie wrap her up in there. I'm not looking to remove that gas tank like I said. There you go. Try to put a wrench on there. We'll get a socket on there. See if we can spin that out of there. And we're all kind of cozy up here. Hopefully I don't smack you in the face. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. That's good. Not saying that the rest of the system's any good, right? You pressurize it and blow out somewhere else, but at least we'll have to kick you out a little bit. Yeah, that's one side. Now we're up towards the front. There's that line jumped over the other side of the frame. Goes all the way up. My guess it either goes to like a compensator valve or right to the master cylinder. See if we can chase the rest of that where that goes. If not, we might just break it right there and try to flare it. I don't know if that spring stuff comes off or is that part of the line. Yeah, it's got a bunch of spaghetti. It goes up and around, and I believe it is this one right here. So I'm going to try to get it cracked loose from the ABS pump and see if I can push air through it. I'll know I'll have the right one if I'm able to blow through it and it comes out the other end, right? If not, we'll try another one. That's the one. Blew air through it and fluid shot out the back. So I think I have a roll of line. I don't know if it's the right diameter or not. I'm gonna go look at it. Pardon you. And I bought a flare kit. I've never tried yet, so maybe we can experiment and have a little bit of fun with that. See if we can figure out how to flare a line with a new funky flare kit. Well, ain't that a snazzy little kit, huh? All kinds of little pumping handles and dies and two pieces that go into each other in different sizes and everything in between. How to use it? I don't have a clue. I ordered some line with it too, and it has some of the fittings. So I'm probably going to go and take that fitting out of the back. We'll look, see if we can find that one. And we'll start with that end of the van. And then we'll if we can get that end hooked up with a fitting on it, we'll uncurl it all the way up to the front of the truck. All right, well, I think we're going to learn together. It's a 3/16 die. And over in the box, this is the 3/16. It looks like Operation 1. Is what would be going down into. I also don't know how far the stick out is. I got it flush with the face as a recess down inside here. And then I think this is Operation 2. I don't know if that's the case, but we are going to try it. So, does that fit through there? Yeah. So, this is like a little hydraulic cylinder. Let me spin that down. It says until it bottoms out. Go pop that in there. And it's got a little valve on it. I'll show you in a second. It's got a valve. Shuts the pressure off and then just hydraulically squeezes down on it. See what it does. And I guess we just go till it bottoms out. Open her up. Kind of looks like it's what it's supposed to be already. Now I know this does a bunch of different setups. Now let me show you what it did. It does a bunch of different lines too, like you can put flares in different areas. Yeah, there's the tip of it right now. We'll go over on the other die and should open up the center of it a little bit. Let's go swap that out of there. Come on. I don't have to do anything funky, do I? Yeah, it just lifts right out. And I think this would just open that center up a little bit and do like that final peening over. I think that's it. Let's go check out that. See what it looks like. We need the little handle. You ever try using like the plumber's flaring tool for copper pipe on a brake line? It's ridiculous. Get that out of the way. I would definitely say that's pretty much what it's supposed to look like. Maybe a little undersized. And you're saying to yourself, I bet you didn't put the fitting on. Yeah. No, yes I did. I think that's all right. Go thread that in the other side. I'll work it all the way out to the front. And we'll cut that other one off. We're going to use that same one over again. I'll flare that one. And we'll put it back on that, ABS. I think it's the ABS block. I think I got a little extra. Well, it doesn't look as pretty or have a spring going around it to protect it, but it also doesn't have a hole in it. That should do it. So it doesn't run right now because I got the air box unplugged for the mass airflow sensors out of it and some other stuff. But we gotta go bleed it. It might bleed on its own if I crack the line on the back and just turn it on and hit the pedal. I think it kind of pumps through. We'll see on that. And we're also going to go find out what happens to the rear brakes at that point. We may find out the two rear calipers lock up. But we'll deal with that when it comes. I'm going to go take a wire wheel, clean up some of the pulleys. I did the bottom one already, not the crank, but the power steering. But I'm going to do the same to those, get some of the crap off of them, get as far as I can prepped, and then tomorrow, like I said, I'm going to try chasing down that idler pulley. Alright, so it's the next day, and I have what is supposed to be a non-AC tensioner. But I do believe it is missing a bracket that would hang off of, that I do not have, and I do not know what it looks like and everything along the lines with that. So I'm kind of back to seeing if we can get that AC pulley off of there and rebuilding the bearing and putting the standard system on it, which is a little bit more accessible. Accessible? I'll go with that word. More available. For most of them came with AC. I want to go to the junkyard, just go steal whatever's missing with that 3 bolts that are hanging out of there, what was taken off. The problem is, this puller, it came with a long bolt. That's the bolt that was in it. Put a wrench on the end of it and crank it down. I found a small puller that had the same threads because I don't have that much room to work with, but it was bending the rod, not able to get enough torque on it. So I'm going to go weld a nut to the end of this. Cut that right off. We'll weld the nut over the top of that so I can have something I can actually put a wrench on it, because right now I'm trying to put a piece of pipe on it where you can and trying to give a little bit of leverage, and you're half on it and half off it. You just can't get a good twist on it. Do I think that thing's going to come apart? I'm not giving it much hope. Just how much heavy corrosion. It's been soaked overnight in fluids. That really doesn't do anything. You know, unless there's a pathway for the fluid to get in there, not much gets accomplished. But that's where I'm going to go shoot for now. And in worst case, then I'll chase down the other parts for a non-AC. But for now, if we can get that off of there, I could just actually just change the bearing in there and move forward. Alright, so welded the nut on the tip and greased the other end, and I greased the threads just so it wouldn't have much resistance. Let's see what we get. At least now we can go put a wrench on it. Before, again, I was trying to get in there with a piece of pipe and that little rod. The grease helps friction and tension. Oh, the jokes. I hear the jokes. I don't want to put heat on there because I don't want to kill whatever bearings are in the pump too, you know. Did the pump just turn? Yeah, the center's turning. So would that mean the pulley turns? No, that's the input of the center. Things I won't do not to remove that plastic fan shroud. The problem is everything's so ratty that you just open a can of worms. Like you got to take that apart. You snap bolts off for that because everything's just so rusty. So you got to kind of approach it in a different fashion than when you would a regular car. I don't know if it's moving. I'm probably just pushing the hole. Probably pushing the shaft into the center of the AC pump. Waiting to see if it starts moving off that gap right there for the snap ring. I don't think it's moving. I think I'm probably pushing the center of the pump in. Oh, there we go. We got a pop. Oh yeah. I just gotta say, sometimes you gotta modify your tool and grease the tip. Hopefully it keeps going. Oh, there you go. I'm feeling much more optimistic. Problem is, actually we got about 5/8 worth of threads left, 1/2 inch worth of threads. And is it going to be able to clear? Oh, it makes me feel good. not out of the woods yet, but definitely on pace. Imagine if the AC still works. I wonder if, because you can see it's wanting to turn, I wonder if the pulley was actually just seized up against the body. There's a lot of crap that falls out of the back side of it. All the white corrosion. I wonder if it's just so packed behind there. The pulley was jammed against the body of the AC, not the... Yeah, because it's turning now. See, that's it. Nice. Only got about 3 threads left. Bring you back when it's off. Hey, it's off. You want the good news or the bad news? Good news, I already told you, it's off. But it broke the last little bit, kind of right where the retaining ring is. That is still stuck in there, now that I can't hammer that out. But that's kind of what held the pulley in place. And then I shoved the face of the clutch back on it. And it seems like the inside still turn okay. But my thought is, that came off of there so crappy that I'm probably gonna have to go draw that back on or press it back on. I don't think it's gonna come off. As long as it's not a sloppy fit. I don't know if that's aluminum or it shouldn't be. I could also probably just put a tack weld right across it once we get it in place and grind it down. Yeah, I think it was kind of bound up. I think this area all in here was all packed up with that aluminum powder, and it was against the back side right there locking up. But this is supposed to move, like this part's supposed to stay still and this outer part is supposed to spin. As you can see by the hub where it locks on, and of course has wires on it to, this is a big magnet, turn a magnet on and off to draw that outer disc into the face of it, spinning. And of course the belt's supposed to spin around the outside of it, and that's not happening. So I need to go find one of those and the one bracket for the with AC setup. So I think I'm gonna go try hitting eBay for that clutch part and the bracket that holds it. Then we can kind of get it all back together best we can, and that's all we're hoping for. So I think at this point, guys, we may just call this one right here. I got as far as I can. I don't know when parts are going to come in, but you know, that's how things work. You just kind of keep picking away at them, and fortunately try to get everything done. And we'll get into, after getting the mechanicals of the van, that's what I'm kind of concentrating on right now. Just see if we can get the van up, running, mobile, start with a key, charge. Who knows what else we're going to go find yet too, you know. Keep most of its fluids in it, because this thing needs to be able to sit while you're up in the bucket up there, fire it up and have the van start back up again, or have it leave it running for your bucket assembly to move. So that part has to be somewhat reliable. Again, the body I'm not that concerned about, because it's probably going to get 15 miles put on it in the rest of its life that I'm going to use it for. Alright guys, so I'm gonna cut it here. Hopefully we got another video or two, or hopefully not 10 on this, but that'll be to be determined. But for this one, we're calling it. Guys, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you soon. Later. thought you get rid of me that fast. One last point I wanted to add is two systems. There's a primary system, which is going to be a hydraulic pump run off of something, whether it's the gas motor on the back if it had one, and it would run a hydraulic pump, or off the engine by itself. But then there's another system that looks like kind of like a car starter that runs a small hydraulic pump, which is an emergency to kind of get you down. That wasn't working in this system when we were trying to go use that. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but again, there is two systems, and one is kind of working. We'll have to look into the other one, or else it kind of gets you stranded. You may want to have a rope ladder to get down, or at least your cell phone with you, just in case.